What's going on, everybody? I see that the world is freaking out about the announcement that Donald Trump has removed the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement, the climate deal worldwide, and I'm gonna wait about 5 seconds and I wanna rationally talk to people. Hopefully this helps some people because I know how serious a lot of climate change and environmentalists are about this type of stuff. So I wanted to just have a rational conversation. First of all, I want to say that I am an environmentalist. I think that we need to definitely protect the environment. We need to clean the air. We need to keep the water clean. And these are the things that I think everybody should be able to agree with. And this is why the debate's been really skewed for a long time. Everybody throws out all this stuff. We all need clean water. We all need clean air. We all need a planet that sustains us for the rest of the world. And if we talked about it on those terms, I think everybody would agree and we would fix things a lot easier. But what a lot of people don't understand now that are about to freak out and be like, we're all gonna die, let's all just jump off a cliff or whatever people do nowadays, I lost count. The Paris Climate Agreement wasn't going to get us there. It just wasn't. The Paris Climate Agreement was not the all-being, oh my goodness, the whole world's going to be saved and it's going to be a utopia of clean energy. It wasn't that. If you watch Leonardo DiCaprio's documentary, he even says that. He speaks at the Paris Climate Deal, and he says to the United Nations, listen, this deal is not even enough. We need to do more. So to that I say, you have to understand, environmentalists as well, understand that everything gets politicized. Everything, water, air, environment. When they find out a lot of people care about the environment, it becomes politics as well. Now, I'm going to say this time and time again throughout this thing. I want the world clean. I think we do need to watch how many emissions we're putting out. I don't want to see California and other countries, other cities, states and cities within them end up like China and Beijing, where the air is really bad, end up like the 1970s and the 1960s, where the air was a lot worse. We need to continue to get our people cleaner air and cleaner water. The Paris Climate Agreement, didn't put water in Flint, Michigan's pipes. The Paris Climate Agreement isn't doing anything for clean water here, clean air here. It's not the be-all, end-all. They presented it to us as this grandiose, look, we're all going to save the world, but look at the companies that are behind it. Look at the trillions of dollars that go into it. It's just not going to save the environment. There's been environmentalists who've done studies, of course suppressed, saying that the Paris Climate Agreement itself, even over the course of 20 to 100 years, is going to make this much of an impact on the actual climate. And there's still debates going on as far as what's truly going on, because when I hear climate being talked about by politicians and climate being talked about by people like Bill Nye, they talk about fossil fuels as if they have some sort of agenda there, because they never talk about the animal agriculture industry, they never talk about transportation, and they never talk about all of the factors going into the amount of carbon and methane that human beings are letting off. So before everybody freaks out, I think we need to realize multiple things if we haven't realized yet. One, the Paris Climate Agreement was not going to change the climate. The Paris Climate Agreement was not going to help the environment. Two, governments clearly are not going to do it for us. We need to figure out innovations ourselves within our own communities, within our own cities, within our own countries. We have to figure out solutions to this stuff. And third, I want to say we have been getting better amongst all the madness and whatnot. If you look at Los Angeles 50, 40 years ago and look at it now, the air is cleaner. The air is cleaner in a lot of places, especially in the United States. Right now, regardless of what any politics or anyone does, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, whoever, the United States now produces more jobs from clean energy. Clean energy produces more jobs than gas and oil and other dirtier energy. So we're already on that path. Clean energy is, I believe, the future, things like solar powered. But we have to be able to have a debate about it, because this debate of one side says everybody's going to die, we're all going to die if you don't listen to me, if you don't believe me, the whole world's ruined, F you. And then you have another side that can't even get a word in. Sometimes people are ignorant, saying, oh, we don't need to help the environment, we don't need to clean the air, clean the water. That is ignorant. But we have to understand it's not a debate of we're all going to die or nothing's wrong. You're both wrong. We need to find a middle ground, because there's plenty of scientists. One was on the Joe Rogan podcast who has clear data evidence that the earth is cooling and not warming. There's clear evidence that the politically, publicly acceptable debate about climate change has been so skewed, where you got people like Bill Nye saying we should probably jail people if they don't believe in climate change. That's not science, jailing people. We need to have a discussion, because first we need to figure out what's causing the climate to change. Second, we need to figure out how is the climate truly changing. Is it getting colder here? Is it getting warmer here? Third, we need to figure out how much can we really affect the entire climate, when regardless of how smart of a scientist you are, how much data you have on your ice or your land or all of the world's climate, 95% of the ocean is unexplored. 95%, we don't know what's going on in the ocean, so we don't really know what's going on Earth. Even the smartest human being, we don't have as great of a concept of Earth as we think we do. We have a lot of ego, a lot of data, and that's great. Science is incredible. People like Albert Einstein, scientists today that are studying the climate, and all of these things is excellent, excellent, excellent. But what I would love to see, and I'm sure I'm going to catch it off flag, but I would love to see people talking about clean air and clean water, because that's how you're going to get everybody on board. Everybody wants clean air. Everybody wants clean water. You see, Obama brought us into the Paris Climate Agreement, but I haven't heard him say a word about Flint, Michigan. They were without water for a year, so it's like it's a bunch of illusions and smoke and circles. Like, here, we're in this agreement that's really not going to change that much. It's not going to do the proper stuff that we need to do. We're never going to talk about the animal agriculture industry. We're not going to tell you how much CO2 that volcanoes let off. We're not going to tell you how much, emissions that shipping and, things that go via the ocean. We're not going to tell you how many emissions those go off. We're only going to tell you about fossil fuels. We're not going to talk about the animal agriculture industry, and it's very vital. The subject has been massively politicized, because anytime, anything, whether it's love, soul, the environment, life, women's rights, gay rights, while they're all viable arguments and viable options, anything will get politicized, because they will find a way to put money behind it. And I think Donald Trump could absolutely do a better job of making everybody feel sure that our cities aren't going to get dirtier, our cities aren't going to get cleaner, aren't going to get dirtier air and dirtier water. And a lot of things that people can feel safe and sound about is a lot of these issues come down to the state. So in a state like California, we've made a lot of changes. Now they charge for plastic bags, which I love. Makes you want to get different bags. We have more paper bags, more reusable. We're on that. There's no precedent in the world that's going to stop us from getting smarter and smarter and getting less dependent on things. We've had hemp for a while. The product hemp can reduce paper. It can do everything. Hemp is an incredible plant. It's been how many years? 80 plus years, 100 plus years, and we don't use hemp anymore. Why do we continue to chop down trees, not use hemp, continue to use paper products and plastic products galore, pollute the oceans, pollute everything? And the politicians tell us, oh, but the Paris Climate Agreement doesn't do anything. It's overrated. It does nothing. Why are we still using paper? Why are we still slashing down the Amazon rainforest? Are the Paris Climate Agreement, are all of those United Nations countries going to ship over to South America and stop slashing down all the trees? They're not, because they don't care. Because the Paris Climate Agreement was never the be-all, end-all for human beings. It was never going to change the climate like it should be changed. It was never going to fix, the environment. And one thing that I find very strange that no politician ever talks about, no news source ever talks about, to reduce emissions, you can plant trees. Trees live off the emissions that are changing our climate. Trees bring them in and they exhale oxygen. Trees, learn about them. Trees. How come no news source and no politician ever says, you know what, I'm going to save the world, I'm going to plant trees? Because there's no money in planting trees. There's no scheme, there's no scam in planting trees. That's why you don't have politicians running around planting trees, because they don't care about the environment. They don't care about the climate. They don't care about you and the future of people. They could write up and say, I care about them. They don't care. If they cared, they would be running around planting trees, because all of the stuff we're doing with more trees, stop chopping down the trees, switch to cleaner energy, everything's a scheme. So to sum everything up, myself, I'm absolutely an environmentalist. I would love to see the food industry get a lot better, animal agriculture to stop being so disgusting. I would love to see us lean off of fossil fuels and start moving into clean energy. I would love to see that. More clean energy, the cleaner the better. But to get to the root of clean energy, we need to have a discussion, because right now it's like a skewed discussion where it's like everything we say is the be all end all, but any scientists who have scientific evidence to be like, hey, maybe this method's releasing more emissions than you thought, and this method's actually releasing less emissions than you thought. They don't let those scientists speak because they want the conversation to be one-sided. They want everyone to say the Paris Climate Agreement's perfect, climate change is real, and we need to stop anything. Like, it's not this debate as it's been skewed. It's not been skewed for science. It's not been skewed to help the climate. It's not been skewed to help survival or stop dirty air and dirty water from polluting our cities. It's been skewed specifically for a political agenda to make a lot of money, to have certain corporations make billions and billions and capitalize on the switch of energy. So with that being said, I don't care about the Paris climate deal, because even when it was made, I knew it wasn't doing anything. Watch the documentaries. The Paris Climate Agreement wasn't going to change the climate. You could study the science, you could study the money behind it, who was involved, what they were going to do, if they were even going to do anything, because a lot of the agreement was off of word of mouth. Like, the countries leave there like, yeah, we'll see if we'll do it, we'll see if we won't do it. That's not what we need. We don't need a global regime saying maybe we're going to do this. We're going to pretend to fix the climate while we're going to continue to slash down trees and not tell you the true roots of methane and CO2 and where all the emissions are really coming from and what sectors of industry are truly polluting the most. We're not going to... there's technology now available. There's technology to clean air. You could literally take ocean water, any dirty water, and it will desalinize and clean it. We have this technology. There's technology available that people are making things the size of buildings that are giant air filters that can purify the air in cities. I've gotten a hold of some places because some people will say to me, and I'm like, you don't care about the environment. I do care. I'm sick and tired of waiting for government to do it for us. So I'll clean my own air. I'll clean my own water, because I know when it comes to big government and big global agreements, it's just a ruse. It's just we're going to do this. So to my environmentalists, I will stay vigilant, stay strong, but please don't buy into the freaking out. Like, I log into Twitter and I see someone's like, I hope your house floods. I hope your house drowns. I hope this happens. I hope that happens. To add to this as well, we've been modifying and manipulating weather since the 50s, 60s, and 70s. You can Google, there's literally government documents available on Google. It's not private, it's not hidden, I'm not a leaker, it's there. Bill Gates in 2009, he patented a patent to manipulate hurricanes. Literally, this is not a conspiracy, this isn't witchcraft, this is real life. Bill Gates has a patent to manipulate hurricanes. The weather can absolutely already be manipulated. They're manipulating hurricanes. They're weather modifying to make it rain and stop raining in certain places. We could plant trees and reduce emissions and lower the temperature. We have the capability to do all of this. But government and global government, they always will just convince you, oh, you're the victim, come, we need this agreement, we need that agreement, we need this agreement. They have the capability to do all of this stuff without the Paris Climate Agreement. So as much as I think Donald Trump could do more to make me feel a little comfortable, there's been so many lies built up over the last 30, 40 years of these politicians like, oh, we don't even know how to change the weather. It's fossil fuels. They have the technology to do all of this. We have the capability to clean our air, to clean our water, to make sure that we don't take the climate into another things. Protect the coral reefs. I would love to see people talking about that. Let's protect our coral reefs. Let's stop Monsanto and pesticides from destroying bumblebees, because if the bees die, so do a lot of human beings. So let's stop killing our bees with pesticides. Let's stop killing our coral reefs. Let's stop polluting our own people in our own cities with air and water. And let's stop playing in this little circus game that politicians have us running back and forth. Oh, we're going to die. We're not going to die. We're going to die. We're the answer. We're the future. And the Paris Climate Agreement was not the be-all, end-all. So that's my message. Much love. Let me know what you think. And once again, I would say, if you are an environmentalist, do your part. Figure out a way that you can really be an impact and maybe invent something, create something. Work with the bright minds who are clean energy in our future, like Elon Musk, because the future is going green, it's going clean, and it's getting cleaner regardless of the Paris Climate Agreement or what Trump does or not. So please don't worry. Please don't politicize this and make it a huge deal. I don't disagree with this. I think it's probably going to save us money, get more jobs, and more importantly, it's going to knock down that smoke screen of like this is the fake climate agreement that's not really helping the climate. So maybe we can get a real agreement that actually helps the climate. Thank you guys. And also helps clean the air, clean the water, and stop chopping down trees. Use other products like hemp that can completely clean our oceans and clean our air, clean our water. All right. Sorry for digressing a little. Thank you guys so much. Have a good week.